Good morning. Thank you guys for being here. Welcome to the December edition of the Telworx Technology and Business Series. Want to, right off the bat, thank the Whittier and Glendora Chambers of Commerce for supporting us, not only in this event, but the support that they provide throughout the year to all of the local businesses, helping to really strengthen and build up the local business communities, and helping things really get moving there. So thank you guys for all that you do. Real briefly about Telworx. Well, Simon Sinek says to start with the why. So let's go ahead and go there first. Every business needs technology, but everyone in your business has a more productive use of their day than trying to figure out the technology that you should be using, sourcing, and then implementing it. That's why Telworx is the single source and really the concierge of all of your business technology and telecommunication services. We get together with you, learn the unique needs of your business, and then turn around to our portfolio of more than 500 providers to get the right provider and the right technologies for your business, help you pick them out, choose them, and then get them implemented, and then stay with you through the course of the agreement, and make sure that it continues to be the right fit for you. Speaking of providers, we have Telesystem with us here this morning. They're a great provider. They're a full service, fully integrated communications provider. They were founded in 1994. They're part of the Block Communication Media family, headquartered out in Ohio. And amongst the services they can provide are voice, internet, infrastructure, network infrastructure, and security. They are a nationwide company, nationwide network in all 50 states, including 7,000 miles of privately owned fiber and 3 privately owned data centers. So what all that means is that regardless of where you are, they can take care of you and support you in whatever you need. And lastly, one of the coolest things that they offer is Wi-Fi engagement and analytics. And before I turn it over to the Telesystem team, just want to ask you to think about this. The way things have been going recently over the past 18 months or so, everything is getting pushed to a virtual experience. We're doing way more online shopping than we ever did before. Even doing things like getting food, we're now having that delivered. We're not going out to restaurants. We're not going out to movie theaters. We're increasingly becoming more and more isolated. And even when we do go out and have those in-person experiences, I was at a restaurant the other day, and they very politely reminded us that we needed to enjoy our food and then get out in a specific period of time. So even when we do have the in-person experiences, they're getting condensed. They're becoming shorter and more transactional. So with that, want you guys to think of how can you take advantage of those opportunities that are becoming fewer and farther between to still build that relationship with your clients and build that loyalty and help them have the best experience possible. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the Telworx team, or Telesystem team, sorry. We have Ken Mercer, Stephen Richards, and Ryan Timms, and I'm going to let you guys go ahead and take it away. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Hello, everybody. My name is Stephen Richards. I am the West Coast Regional Channel Manager for Telesystem. So basically what that means is I help people like John demo and provide our technology to customers like you in the field. Alongside me, I have Ryan Timms, one of my favorite and brightest Telesystem sales engineers. He's going to lead the demo for us today. Basically, he's just going to make me look good is what he's going to do. So appreciate that. Ken Mercer's on the call. He's in charge of marketing. Nobody really knows what he does. I think he just goes on vacations that the company pays for and then shows up to calls. I'm not sure. But overall, I think he's pretty important to the company. So with that said, real quick things. Wi-Fi analytics. What is that, right? It's just a bunch of words we put together. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to anybody. But what I would propose to you is, what is this, right? Most people would say this is a cell phone. I would say this is a key. This is a key to the growth of your business, right? But a key is only as good as the lock that it opens. And that's what we're going to show you today. We're going to show you that lock. And those locks are on doors. And those doors open up to customers that are excited to be at your place of business because they provided feedback and you listened. Or behind another door are customers who are happy to come to your space and want to partake in your environment because you provide things that they're familiar with. You engage in their hobbies and their interests. Behind another door, money, right? Those customers are going to come to your business. They're going to partake in your business. Using this key to open that door, they're going to let more people know about that business. You're going to be able to engage in those customers more frequently and more effectively. And that's really what we're here to talk about today, right? So during this presentation that Ryan's going to give you, and I'm going to shut up now. Nobody wants to hear me talk. We want to see the magic. But I just want to leave you with something. If you had the opportunity to speak to every one of your customers, right? What would you say? So just take that question. Don't answer it yet. Let Ryan do the demo. Let him show you the capabilities of this tool. And at the end of that, we'll come back to that question. But just keep that in the back of your mind. If you had that opportunity to engage with every single person that came in contact with your business, what would you want to say to them? So with that said, Ryan, if you want to fire that up, and I'll let you go ahead and get into the tool here. This is our Wi-Fi analytics demo, and we're really just going to focus on the information capture and the marketing leg of the tool. So basically, the information you can capture and how you can use that information to reach out to your customers.
There we go. Thanks, Stefan. So just for clarification, can everybody see my screen? You should see that Telesystem logo right there in the center. Fantastic. I saw some head nods. I'll take that. So yeah, I'll actually bring that over. Move this around just so that I can. Sorry, I've got these meeting controls that inevitably get in the way. But yeah, like Stefan said, my name is Ryan Timms. I'm a sales engineer with Telesystem, and I'm going to be the tour guide for the day. So yeah, keys, locks, all that good stuff. We're going to talk about empowering you as a business owner to really make better decisions. So it's about two things: making more educated business decisions paired with monetizing maybe a service that you're already providing. So these days Wi-Fi is kind of become table stakes for a business. It's expected. If McDonald's is providing it, pretty much everybody should be. So whether it's retail, restaurants, doesn't matter. It's really just commonplace that people are going to be providing things like Wi-Fi. Yeah. So anyways, that being said, it's really about utilizing that as a tool for your business to make those decisions as well as monetize it, right? Turn it into money. And so it's kind of using that. We'll kind of walk through this portal. So what we're really doing is using analytics to your benefit. So as those people come on and connect to Wi-Fi, we're then collecting that data so that we can use it to our advantage. So full disclosure, you may see this and go, Acme fast food and hospitals, that's kind of weird. Well, that's a pretty diversified business. This is a demo account that I'm going to be showing you. And I preface that because I'm not trying to pull anything over anybody's eyes here. It's a demo account because of the data that we're going to be showing you. It's so personalized and detailed that I can't show actual data because of the granularity and the information. I have to be protective of that. So again, that's why you're seeing that. So, and I'll actually show you what I mean here in just a few minutes in terms of that transparency into our individuals. So just kind of getting into it here. Let me actually pull the chat in case anybody's saying anything that I might need to answer. So in fact, I'll actually ask, just feel free to be, I guess, interactive if there's any questions that pop up in the chat. If anybody wants to bring those to my attention in the event that maybe I didn't see them, please feel free to jump in and interrupt me.
So Ryan, on that note, I threw up the link with all of the vertical use cases for this product on our website. So that is in the chat, just so everyone knows. If you're looking for marketing material, it's there. If you want it co-branded, come back to us and we'll co-brand it for you.
Fantastic. So with that being said, what we're looking at here is really just kind of that initial dashboard in terms of, let's say that I have multiple locations or I've got, different types of businesses. Of course, I can see those immediately. I'm going to be able to see kind of that quick information in terms of, what are my busiest venues at the moment? Where can I see those kind of scattered, of course, across the country? So if I'm looking at those from a map view, I absolutely can see that. So we're going to click on the fast food portion again, just to kind of give us some data. Again, just wanted to kind of preface that and show you that we can see, multiple locations and kind of get a quick view as to the busyness there. But as we actually come into this, I'll get really the dashboard that is probably the most helpful and the most enlightening. So like I said, we're really using that data of those individuals to our advantage. So I'm going to show you this data, and it may seem a little bit of a weird path, but I do it in this order just to kind of make sense of it. So I want to show you what information we are collecting, and then how we're collecting it. And actually, I assume you guys can hear me. Is that right? Sometimes my audio settings can get a little wonky. Okay.
Yes. Yes,
perfect. Sorry.
Can hear you.
I just didn't want to be talking for 30 minutes and everybody goes, we can't hear you. So fantastic. Thank you. So what we're looking at here is that dashboard for that information. So we can really customize this in terms of maybe who's logging in. So if I've got maybe an IT director or somebody who's in charge of that IT piece, of course, we're going to get those network statistics in terms of authentication rates and content in terms of who's actually looking at what, things like that. But I'm not so much interested in network statistics. That's all about the granularity of it. I'm really interested. I'm going to show you the perspective of what information can I glean from those individuals. So again, somebody comes in, they connect to Wi-Fi, and we can incentivize people to connect to Wi-Fi in different ways. Sometimes it's think of a shopping grocery store. Nowadays, they're actually building them to actually really make it really hard to get cell phone service, so that it really forces you into connecting to Wi-Fi. So there's things like that. Or maybe we incentivize people by, hey, if you can connect to our Wi-Fi, you can see our menu, or maybe get a 5% off coupon, or whatever the case might be. Again, there's many ways to incentivize people to connect to that, because again, and nothing's free these days, right? It's kind of whenever you connect to things like Wi-Fi, you're paying with something. In this case, you're paying with your information. And of course, whenever we give them that splash page, we can give them that 30-page document of, I agree to do this and this, accept. That's what everybody does, right? They just scroll through it as fast as they can, hit that accept button, and away they go, because that's all they care about is getting internet access. But in this case, what we're really looking at is more of that marketing side of it. And this is really what I love talking about this. So if I seem excited, it's because I am. Because of it's exciting, it's new, it's a big deal for businesses. So with that being said, immediately I'm going to be able to see things like visitors, our live count of visitors. You'll actually see that ticking. You've probably seen that as we've been talking. There we go. So that's constantly shifting. Of course, it may be a little less drastic changes in a real world environment. But again, in this case, you can actually see that data as it's changed. I also get to see my visitor count over the last days. In this case, I'm looking at a 30-day view. Again, all this information is very customizable. Whatever is important to you, you can absolutely have access to. But in this case, again, I'm seeing that visitor count over the last 30 days really helps me to better understand my business in terms of, what are my kind of high water marks, my low water marks, may help me out with staffing in terms of, what are Tuesdays really my busy days that maybe I need to make some changes in that regard. again, it gives me that insight. Not to mention, if maybe, let's say I'm a restaurant and I've had a band that comes in on Thursday nights, am I really seeing that higher influx of people? Now, this visitor count, that doesn't have to be people that are actually logged into Wi-Fi. I'm also getting some passive information. So it's keeping a live count of people who are actually have come into my facility, not just connected to Wi-Fi. Whether they've connected or not, still going to be able to see that actual data. But again, I'm seeing that information. I can break that information down, those visitors, based on gender, based on age, whether they're a new or repeat customer. I can see that information in terms of hours a day. So again, maybe as people are coming in a restaurant environment, I get to really see, and are people actually coming in and hanging out during my happy hour? Maybe I'm not doing a good enough job of advertising that fact. Maybe people need to have a better understanding of, what are specials that we have going on, things like that. So again, it really gives me that visibility into my organization, and into my visitors. And then I can also see how people connect. So people always look at this and they go, how do you know? How do you know what gender they are, what age they are? Again, that's where this bottom piece of it is in terms of how they're connecting. So on that splash page, and splash pages, for those of you who don't know, is whenever somebody connects, you've probably seen it before in a hotel, in an airport, whatever the case might be. You connect, immediately pulls you up to this page with a logo that says, hey, thanks for coming in. How do you want to connect? So we have that ability. I'm going to show you what that splash page looks like in just a second. But that's where we give them the option to log in, and now we're actually collecting that data. So we get this information, and then we kind of break it out into graphs in terms of that visibility into seeing those things. So again, I talked about making better educated decisions. Think about this from, again, if maybe I've got a restaurant, I see that, the overwhelming majority of my visitors over the last 30 days has been males, realistically under 34. So maybe that's not quite the demographic that I'm looking for. As you kind of know, it's kind of the law of nature. The more women I have in a restaurant, pretty much applicable anywhere. It's kind of how biology works. We're just ingrained that way. So maybe I really need to start focusing my marketing dollars on, as you know, Facebook ads. I can really tailor that in terms of who I'm pushing those ads to. So I can pick, age, gender. I can even pick down to, what they do for a living, things like that. But in this case, maybe I really want to focus. I see a massive gap. Every 35 and older, I'm really not marketing to, or I'm really not getting those people in. So maybe I really need to change my focus in terms of where I'm spending my money. Google ads, that pay-per-click, Facebook ads, Instagram, whatever the case might be. I really can focus those and be a lot more specific and targeted in terms of where I'm spending my marketing dollars. I'm not just sending them off into the universe, hoping that those go to the right people. Now I know who not only who my customers are, but almost equally as important, or maybe more important, who my customers aren't. So that again, I can really be laser focused in terms of where I'm sending that. So again, I've got all this information, but how am I getting it? So in this case, I'll look at it from kind of how that cycle happens, what that actual interface looks like, and how I'm getting that information, and then what that information looks like. Pardon me, I'm going to breathe for just a second while that's actually happening. I tend to talk a lot, and inevitably on one of these, I'm going to end up hyperventilating. But in this case, we can see we've got a couple of different splash pages. Like I said, that's what that is that initial page that pops up on a screen, whether it's a computer, whether it's a smartphone, whatever the case might be. Whenever I connect, immediately it's gonna direct me directly to this page. Now, in this case, I've got two that are built. I've got one for somebody who's never been to my facility before, as well as somebody who has been to my facility before. So I can really tailor what that looks like. In this case, as you can see, I get this fun little logo, and then I give them a couple of options of how do you want to log in. Of course, we've got several social media platforms. I've also got the ability to do things like LinkedIn, Google. So I tend to use my Google account. Now, again, that's got a ton of information in it in terms of, who I am, probably more than I want it to be out there, but it just is what it is. And you probably saw in that graph, the overwhelming majority of people tend to log in through Facebook because they feel like they can trust Facebook. Say that again. They feel like they can trust Facebook, which is probably the most ironic statement that's ever been said. You can't, but that's what people do. It's the overwhelming majority of people do that. And so, as you can imagine, Facebook has zero problem in the world sharing that data with us. And I say with us, with this, software, we're pulling that information. So you as the business owner actually own that information. You're not sharing it with anybody and everybody. We don't get access to all that. It's yours to do with it what you so choose to do with it what you choose. There we go. So in this case, I've got that splash page. I can direct them in certain ways. Of course, somebody says, hey, I'm really uncomfortable with it, or maybe I don't have social media. We also can give them an additional option, sign in with email. Now, this can absolutely be tailored in terms of what we're asking them. So maybe we do want to ask those questions about how old are you? Or maybe what's your birthday? It's a little less direct in that regard. What's your birthday? Are you male, female, whatever the case might be. And then again, we can put those T's and C's, those terms and conditions, in terms of kind of releasing that liability from your business in terms of what they do on the internet. Hey, I promise not to do bad things. Scroll through, accept, and we're good to go. So again, we get that ability to do that. So in terms of this, a lot of people ask, well, this is great, but kind of in terms of just kind of thinking outside of the box. I've had a lot of people say, well, as I mentioned, monetizing that Wi-Fi, or in this case, maybe offsetting the cost. So, you're paying for, as a business owner, you tend to pay for Wi-Fi. It's just a service that we're providing because it's table stakes these days. Well, I want to figure out ways to not only offset the cost, but maybe I want to actually make money on it. So think about, I was actually speaking with a restaurant the other day who said, we've got maybe an alcohol distributor who we want to partner with, and maybe they want to actually advertise on this blank space. So, I've got my logo, I've got all these things. Maybe I want to actually have, maybe a particular wine vendor or an alcohol distributor who's going to actually provide, they're going to pay to advertise on here. I had a hotel, and again, I'm just throwing out different examples just to kind of get your brain working. Inevitably, business owners know their business way better than I ever will. But again, it's all about working collaboratively to come up with some kind of out of the box thinking. But we had a hotel that said, there's Joe's Barbecue down the street. I know that he would love to pay $1,000 a month to advertise here, so that as soon as they log into my hotel Wi-Fi, because it's what everybody does, at that point I have this advertisement for Joe's Barbecue, and they'll pay to have that there, because now I've got a captive market. They're going to see that the customers, or the people who are checking into the hotel, now see, hey, go visit this place and mention this code, or mention this ad to get 10% off. Everybody wins. The hotel in that instance offsets the cost of their Wi-Fi, so it's paid for plus some, so they're actually making money on it. Not to mention they get all the analytics off of it. And Joe's Barbecue down the street wins because he's getting a ton more business that he would not have gotten because people didn't know that he was there. So again, it's different ways of thinking about this in terms of how can we offset that cost, not to mention just make money off of it. So that's kind of a direct way of monetizing that piece. But again, we can do with this whatever we choose. Talking a lot, so feel free to add some questions if anybody has any. But in this case, I can add a ton of different splash pages that can be very customized and tailored to those individuals. In this case, I've also got another one built for somebody who's been here before. So again, it's a repeat customer. I can really tailor that to what might be different circumstances. Hey, this is your 10th time here. Here's this particular information, or maybe I want to update them on new menu items that I've got. We can also customize this based on a ton of different factors. We'll look at that in just a second, but just to kind of instantly talk about it, I can even factor in things like weather. So maybe it's over a certain temperature. I want to let them know, hey, we've got, if it's over, say, 82 degrees, hey, we've got 2-for-1 beers starting at 2 o'clock. Here's my happy hour. Or if it's below a certain temperature, maybe, I don't know, whatever the right temperature is, 48 degrees or below, we've got soup on sale starting during lunch hour, whatever the case may be. I can really tailor it based on as granular information as the weather. So again, I talk about that because A, it blows my mind, but B, it kind of shows you the depth and the customization that we can do. But in this case, for just generically somebody who's been here before, again, I'm going to give them that information. Maybe I want to point them, hey, here's here's some information in terms of, try ordering online next time, or here's our online menu. Or maybe I even want to point them to an app. Of course, I can give them quick links to the App Store, or Google Play, whatever the case might be. So a quick link to our application. So again, we can really raise that adoption rate. We spend a lot of money on an app. We really want people to utilize that. So again, we can kind of push people to that. Maybe there's a loyalty program or rewards program that we want to push them to. Hey, if you were ordering through the app, or if you sign up through our app, you get not only a discount or a half price appetizer this one time, but you also get points to go towards whatever the case might be. You understand where I'm going? So again, I talked to you about what information and in that dashboard we can pull, kind of how people actually log in and we gather that information. So here's what information we're actually gathering at that point. So if I go to CRM, it's actually going to show me a quick list of all the visitors that I've had over the last 30 days. Of course, if I scroll down, you can see that I've got pages and pages of those people. But here's where I mentioned the fact that I've got a demo account, and here's why. Because of the information that I'm about to show you, I can't show you actual data. That's why I've got to show you fictional. But in this case, as a business owner, I get the ability to see all these people that have come into my business. So in this case, we'll just pick on Will Smith, for example. I can see Will Smith. He's a male. He's 53 years old. He's been here 31 times. We like Will. He's a great customer. The last time he was here was actually December 14th, which is actually today. We love Will. Great guy. I can see that he's logged in through Facebook. So if I click on Will, I'm going to get some additional information. And I like the fact that it loads because it gives me just a second to breathe. So yeah, I'll kind of look at this for just a second. But again, and I show you this 99% of the time. We don't care about one individual. I'm showing you this just to show you what information we're gathering, and then how we can use that information collectively, again, to make better decisions.
Ryan, I have a quick question for you here.
Please.
We'll give you a little relief. So you mentioned CRM. Does a business need to have an existing CRM, or can this your solution actually help them and have a built-in CRM for them to use?
So that's a great question. So in this case, it's CRM. So essentially, it's those customer records that we're accessing for this information. Now we can absolutely integrate with the CRM. Well, majority of the time we can integrate with CRMs if there's one that's existing. Of course, they can use this kind of as that information, or that customer reference, customer resource management, I believe. Anyways, absolutely, we can utilize this to better understand our customers and who's coming in. Keep tabs in terms of who's been here, and kind of enhance that experience for the customer. But if they already have a CRM, as long as there's open APIs, or basically as long as there's information that we can tap into with that CRM, we can usually create some kind of integration. If there's not one that's already built, we can create some kind of integration where we can then actually have that loyalty piece of it, where maybe I can then really understand, somebody's come in, and again, Will comes in, and we see that he orders the same thing every time. So maybe next time he comes in, I can actually prompt, hey Will, thanks for coming back. We see that you order the chicken parm every time because you just like that. We've got a new menu item, and we want to blast that to them. Again, I have that. Now I can reference those tools that I can actually pull that information, and then kind of prompt Will, hey, let's do some additional things. You've been really ordering chicken parm, but we want you to see that we have other menu items, or hey, we've got this particular event that's coming up. So again, it really makes it helpful to be able to tie into those CRMs. So if you've got one, great. We 99% of the time we can integrate with it. If you don't, no problem. You still get those customer records. So great question, and I appreciate the breather. So in this case, as you can see, so in the case of Will, again, I'm showing you the granularity so that you can better understand how we fill in those blanks on that initial dashboard in terms of that information. So again, I get the ability to see Will because of the fact that he's logged in. I get his email address. So again, I can now create these maybe email campaigns that I want to let Will know, hey, we've got a new event that's coming up, or have you checked this out, or whatever the case might be. I can now email him as often as I see fit. I get the ability to see his age, his gender. I get his cell phone number. So maybe I want to text him, something that's going on, or maybe I want to call him if he's that important. Again, Will's coming in, he's dropping 50 grand every time he walks in the door. You better believe I am customizing my business to Will Smith. But again, a little atypical. I can see where he's from. So West Philadelphia, probably born and raised, maybe shooting a little b-ball outside of the school. Anybody? Okay, it's okay. Doesn't have to land every time. I can see the first time he's been here, the last time he's been here. Again, he's been here a lot. So we're big Will Smith fans. I can also see that he's logged in through Facebook, as I mentioned. I also see he's only been to one site. So maybe I've got multiple locations that I really want to let Will know, whenever you're in Vegas, go visit our location there, or Miami, or wherever the case may be. I get that granularity in terms of that information. Not to mention, because of the fact that he's logged in through Facebook, I know that I'm also going to get some social information. So again, because of that, I get to see, and this is really scary, it's incredible, the fact that I get to see what he likes on these social platforms. So I get to see that he's likes Coca-Cola, Virgin Media, Nike. I can see the books and music and things like that. So again, it's all about gathering that information so that I can then make better decisions as a business owner. So we'll talk about that as a singularity, but let's look at it from a kind of as a group mentality perspective. So I gather that social information, and now I'm looking at it as a holistic piece, of the kind of that mob mentality, if you will. So immediately I'm going to be able to see kind of those common interests amongst the people who are actually coming into my facility. Yeah, it's 11:36. Yeah, we're in good shape. I just want to make sure I'm not running low on time. And like I said, if anybody's got any questions, feel free to drop those in there. I'm happy to kind of redirect a little bit if needed. But in this case, so again, let's say that I own a sports bar, and I'm just going to throw out some hypotheticals and some different case studies. If I own a sports bar, immediately, again, this fictitious data, that's probably why we're seeing things like Australian rules football. I don't anticipate seeing a lot of that around here, but maybe I'm going to see things like badminton, a little less likely, but let's say horse racing, so or UFC, or whatever the case might be. But again, if I know that people, the overwhelming majority, maybe I see that 75% of the people that are coming into my business like golf or like horse racing. So whenever the Masters comes around, you better believe I'm marketing to these people. I'm going to light it up on Facebook or Instagram, or I'm going to blast out emails saying, hey, we're showing the Masters as our facility. Come watch the Masters at our place. We've got drink specials that are golf themed, or whatever the case may be. Come watch the Kentucky Derby. We're serving mint juleps. I think that's Kentucky Derby, right? We're serving mint juleps. We're doing horse race themed games, stuff like that. So again, we can really tailor that kind of our business around those events, because of the fact that I know that out of the people who have been at my facility, I know that they like these things. So again, it really gives me that insight as to what people are most interested in as they come into my business. I can also, we were actually talking to a bookstore the other day, and as I was showing this, I kind of showed that interest piece. And as you can see, I see two pretty significant chunks here. That's most likely what you're going to be able to see in a non, kind of a global demo account. But again, that's why we've got Australian rules football, which I don't even know what that is, but that's okay. You get the idea here. But as you can see, I see two pretty significant chunks. And if I hover over those, I'm going to see what those are. So I can see that, 20% of people in this case that came through like coffee, and 25% of people are interested in cooking. So whenever I was talking to a bookstore the other day, they said, I've actually got a, I'm going to start serving, if I see that coffee, I'm going to have coffee in there. I'm going to advertise the fact, maybe on my window, hey, come in and grab a cup of coffee, free cup of coffee. Not to mention, I'm going to have my cooking section right up there front and center, because I know that majority of people like those things. I actually did this for a high-end restaurant in Orange County the other day. And they saw this and they said, well, we've got coffee on your menu, but I see that, if I saw that a large chunk of people enjoy cooking, they said, I'm just kind of thinking outside of the box here. And I loved it because it was something that I had not thought about, that they thought, this is because of the fact that I've got this insight, maybe I see that people like cooking. So I'm going to actually offer cooking classes whenever my kitchen is not in service. So they said, we can offer high-end cooking classes. I can charge, at that point it was, a really upscale Italian joint. And they said, we're going to offer maybe for $500 a person, it works out well because my chef gets to teach a signature dish of his choosing. So the kitchen's making money, chef gets to make a little extra money. So again, it's ways to make money off hours that I had never thought about. And again, it kind of creates that high-end aspect that they're able to monitor to create that additional revenue that, again, I never would have thought of. So again, it's great, unique way of utilizing that data. So again, you get the idea. Maybe it focuses, maybe it gives me an idea of just what my customers are interested in so that I can better tailor my business to those individuals. Again, it's all about making a better experience for those users. And a couple other pieces that we I think it was, and I apologize, I think I was kind of asked, hey, let's focus on a couple things, and hopefully that's right. Are we at least on the right track? Is there anything more specific that we wanted to look at? Next up, I was going to kind of show the presence aspect and then how that we can actually tailor that experience. John, was there anything more specific?
No, I think so far so good. If you
Okay.
guys want to see anything in particular, or if you guys have specific questions, go ahead and post them in the chat, and then we'll go ahead and facilitate those. Otherwise, we're just going to let Ryan keep going with it. The train's going to keep going down the tracks.
There we go. So yeah, and just know that if anybody's got any questions or says, I feel like we're talking about a lot, but maybe we want to get a little more focused, I'm happy to do this on a more one-to-one basis. We're really just scratching the surface in terms of what we can do. Again, I like to show a little bit of the highlights just to kind of let everybody have a general understanding of what some of the things we can do. Again, once we have a better conversation, we can really talk about maybe how it's a little more useful in terms of your business and how you guys operate. So again, just showing you some of the highlight pieces. So another piece that we have the ability to do, and this is kind of really helpful in some regards, because again, we have a same Italian restaurant. They said, we've actually kind of have our business broken up into sections. We have, of course, the restaurant, we've got a separate bar, and then we've actually got I think it's cucina. I don't know, that sounds right. But basically they had their little Italian market that they had. I'm probably saying that wrong. I think I said Italian for kitchen. Doesn't matter. But they have their a little Italian market that's actually connected to their business as well. And they said, we really want to understand what's kind of the transition. Are people actually going from the restaurant to the market, or vice versa? So they really wanted to understand kind of how their people are moving throughout the facility. So we looked at it from a presence standpoint. So of course we have the ability to actually see location as well. So in this case, I can look at it from a couple different perspectives. If I want to look at it from the footfall, and what I mean is the actual dots as people move, or I can look at it from a heat map, similar to what you would see on the Weather Channel. You kind of see that as people congregate in a particular area. The more people, it's going to line up like a Christmas tree, right? But in this case, I can actually see people as they move throughout my facility. And with this, it really gives me some insight in terms of like dwell time. So what I mean by dwell time is how long are people actually staying in certain areas? It also gives me the ability to see conversion rates and things like that. We'll look at the chart in just a second, but as you can see, hopefully you're able to see it as people actually move throughout the facility. So you'll actually see these dots move, kind of from section to section. And as you can see, we've actually color coded this so that I can differentiate what those different sections are, and then kind of pull reports based on, how many people are moving in different sections or hanging out in these different areas. So again, it's pretty incredible in terms of what we can do and how we can then utilize that information. But again, it gives me that visibility, even to the point if I click on an individual, I can see whoever this person might be. Again, I'm going to get that visibility as they move throughout my facility. So again, just kind of gives me that insight there. So like I said, I've got the ability to see people as they move throughout my facility, and then, behaviors. There we go. I talked about dwell times and kind of conversion rates. So how many people are walking past my facility versus are actually coming in? How much time are they actually spending? So we talk about that from an engagement standpoint. So again, it's pretty crucial for me as a business owner. How many people are walking by? How many people are coming in? It's important to convert everybody that's walking by into a customer, because customers spend money, right? People that are walking by, not so much. So in this case, I get to see that in terms of, kind of break that down into I think, pretty fun. your page. So in this case, I can see how many people are actually walking by versus how many people are actually coming into my facility. And equally as important, how many people are actually walking by that never even walk in the door. Again, what at that point, now that I know, what can I do to then actually bring those people in? I think there's actually, Ken or Stefan may want to talk about, may want to talk about, there was a coffee shop that, we were able to actually, in fact, if they want to talk, they'll give me a little bit of a breather, but as you can see, I can actually see once people walk in the door,
I can Ryan, I was stuffing my face. I can talk about the coffee shop if you'd like. I was just eating.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you.
Which is really not good for video. So the use case was, there was a place to serve lunch, and they were open from 11 to 4, and they had the access point mounted by the front of their store, and they noticed because it was pinging off the Bluetooth of phones walking by, nobody was registering. There was no big brother. It just saw a bunch of Bluetooth devices walking by the radio between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. And they were like, what's up with that? Where's all this foot traffic and why are we missing it? They found out there was a yoga studio right around the corner. So they changed their hours and they started offering light breakfasts and fruit smoothies, and they tripled their profits within a month. So, not even logging in, not knowing, just having the ability to understand when there's traffic outside your store, you could change your store hours or what display people are going by or what pattern people are moving in is really, really powerful information. And that's without even having to log in, right? So I'll go back to eating, I guess, now.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the breather. Allowed me to, like I said, I've been jumping from meeting to meeting. I didn't have a chance to fill a coffee, so I got the big one.
I'm with you, Ryan. I'm right there. You need my help, you just ask, and I'll just turn back on the video and spit out the food.
There we go. So like we said, it's about being able to adapt and make changes, make better educated business decisions based on the information that you have, that you can have, that maybe you don't have today. So again, it's about making the best decisions based on the information available to you. So in this case, as you can see, I can tell how many people are actually coming into my business. We can differentiate these. In this case, I've got it, saying, hey, somebody who maybe who's a visitor who's not engaged, maybe they spend less than 3 minutes. They come in, they look at my menu, and they go, you know what, it's just not what I'm looking for. Of course, they can leave. Versus how many people are actually staying longer. Maybe they're coming in, they're having a quick drink and they're rolling out, versus, fully engaged. How many people are staying more than 15 minutes? Kind of to John's point, he also mentioned the fact that we can also prompt people to get out based on, the current circumstances that are going on these days. So we can also, as people come in, maybe we want to have on that page, we can prompt them about certain policies that we have, new COVID restrictions, or, our policies, or, we've got certain time limits based on information. Again, we can always give that information, based on different prompts. So again, it's pretty incredible what can be done in that regard. So again, we can really direct those people based on different parameters. But the last thing that I'll show here, just again, because of the fact that I want to talk about the customization in terms of what we can send people and how we can really, actually, I'm going to show two more things, how we can then, completely threw myself off here, how we can customize what we're sending to people based on different parameters. So once this loads, you'll actually see that this is what's called a logic flow. So we can make these determinations in what we do based on different pieces. So somebody connects, we can maybe send them a quick email. Hey, thanks for coming in. Come see us again. We've got these things that are called e-shots, and that's what the other piece I'm going to show you in a minute. It's just a quick little marketing tool. And then of course, that's the end of the encounter. But like I said, it's very customizable. So I can actually tailor this information based on different parameters like gender, age, the last time they visited. Hey, we haven't seen you in 6 months. Here's a 5% off coupon, whatever the case may be. You get the idea. However, we want to reward somebody for coming back, or hey, you've been here 10 times or 100 times. Happy celebration, whatever. Again, we get to reward people based on different circumstances. Again, it's great because you get their information that you can make better decisions on. They get rewarded, or they get their experiences enhanced because of the fact that we've got that information that we can actually prompt different circumstances. Hey, your birthday's coming up, whatever the case might be. We can do that information. I talked about the weather pieces of it, but we can also do things based on, time of day or the date, things like that. If I know that Mother's Day is coming up, hey, make sure you make your reservation for a brunch that's coming up that we're having. Easter's coming up. We've got this special Easter lunch that's happening. Whatever the case might be, again, let your imagination run wild. I use the word customize a lot here. I don't overuse it. Maybe, in your opinion, I do, but from the standpoint of it is so unbelievably customizable and tailored to that individual user, to the individual business, that really the limitations are really very few. So if you can imagine it, we can probably accomplish it. We're really just limited by imagination at this point.
Yeah, and the great thing is this is like set it and forget it. Remember the old rotisserie late night infomercials, right? It's exactly that. Like, you, as the owner of this data, you create the campaigns. You create them. You don't have to babysit them or monitor them or say, let me go find all the people that haven't visited in the last 60 days so I can put them into a group and then send them an email or a notification or whatever the case is. No, it automatically does it based on the campaigns that you set up. So if you say, I want to acknowledge people who have not been to my space within the last 60 days, the system will automatically find people who have not been tagged in any location within the last 60 days and send them whatever notification you're trying to send them. And it doesn't just have to be that. You could also reward customers, right? Say you want to set something up for a customer who's been to your location 10 times or more. You can set that parameter. On the 10th visit, the customer will automatically get something, again, in the message that you want to deliver to them, sent to them. And you don't have to monitor or babysit or bring on another person for staff to go ahead and take care of this. This can be something that you can do relatively quickly and reap great benefits from it.
Yeah,
sorry,
and
to give you a breather.
You're good. So to kind of add, and this is the last thing that I'll say, because I know we're running super short on time. Kind of to that point, we talked about e-shots or marketing. So in this case, I've got, as you can see, SMS, which is text. So I've got the ability to send out information based on, email or text. So in this case, I can already have a text that's pre-designed. Thanks for stopping by. How about a free coffee on your next visit? Use this code. So I can actually text somebody as they come in, based on different parameters. Hey, first time you, whatever. As you can see, I can build these different filters. Somebody who's over 18, I want to send that to, whenever they come in. Or if I go back to the to this piece, I'll just show you one of these. Of course, I could talk about this for hours. Again, I'd love to. Just let's maybe schedule some time. But in this case, only had one. So so the last piece of it is that marketing. And I saw, I think that lady had maybe jambalaya in the back on her background, and just got my mouth watering over here. But in this case, I can create these little marketing, these quick emails. Hey, thanks for coming in.
Thank you
next
so
time you
much.
come in, here's yeah. I, as a Louisiana boy, I saw that. I'm gonna have to go get some food. So. Anyways.
Oh, and I made red beans and rice today. So actually, John, if you're in the area, I don't know if you're in the area.
I'm not. I'm in Colorado. I don't know where these other
Oh.
people are. My feelings are hurt. I'm devastated. So I need some of that in my life right now. So anyways, so sorry. I saw that and it hurt my feelings. Whatever, it stopped showing. So anyways, all that being said, you can see what we have the ability to send out. It's pretty incredible. We could show a picture of jambalaya, as we want to, that wants to be the background of our quick mailer. So anyways, I will be quiet now because I know we're super short on time. But like I said, I appreciate everyone's time and allowing me to kind of talk incessantly about all this stuff. So like I said, I could go on and on and on. We're trying to just kind of give you a little teaser as to what's available.
I know Ryan has a hard out, so does anybody have any questions for him?
I have one question.
No, I've really enjoyed this presentation. It's been amazing.
You have are you the one with the truck?
In the future,
Oh,
but
okay. I
now I'm
thought that was
doing
like a
catering.
mobile. Okay,
Yes.
mobile one. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Good for you. That
Thank
does
you.
look delicious, by the way.
Say that
You know,
again.
I said that background does look delicious, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. It is.
Perfect answer. What were you gonna say, John?
There is one question that came up from some other conversations I've had, and it centers around security. So someone was concerned that, all right, you especially because they've seen some of the other series that we've done talking about security, and so we're supposed to be protecting our network and all of our very sensitive information and data and infrastructure and everything. But now you're asking us to open up Wi-Fi to anyone coming by. Can you talk a little bit about the security and how you can segment and keep the two systems separate from each other so that everything stays secure?
Sure. So in this case, and I'm fine to hang over just a little bit. Like I said, my days has been kind of oddball, so I have no problem spending a little extra time. But so we can do a few things. So obviously, we would love to incorporate the entire piece of it. Wi-Fi. If you've already got Wi-Fi infrastructure that's in place, of course, we can layer this on top of it. Generally speaking, as long as it's call it an enterprise or commercial grade access point, kind of Wi-Fi system. If it came from Radio Shack, it's probably a little old, but we may not work with it. So again, we'd love to provide the whole solution. But with that being said, really the access point piece of it, the thing that's actually pushing out your Wi-Fi is really where it's going to, we can kind of segregate and create partition off, maybe our actual business Wi-Fi versus our customer facing Wi-Fi. So that's where we can really delineate. And at that point, it will basically partition out those different pieces of it. Sometimes people go, you know what, that just doesn't make me feel comfortable enough. For example, we had a casino, which I understand. The casino, they actually provided their own specific network for customers. But again, from the actual access point piece of it, the actual piece of hardware that's pushing out the signal, that's where we can really create those walls, if you will.
On data collection, whoever's paying the bill owns the data.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, the data's out there anyway. So it's already out there on Facebook. It's already out there on Instagram. So however the customer writes the end user license agreement, that is the opt-in or opt-out when they log into the Wi-Fi network, the person paying the bill to Telesystem for the licenses and the wireless access points owns that data. So if it was a gym and it was all their members and their members were opting in to see if they could schedule or get rewards for a free class or something like that, the gym owns all the data because the customers said they could, right? So that's not really a security breach at all. All the stuff that's out there is public knowledge on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, et cetera, whatnot. And then having them with it, and we are not, it's not our end user license agreement. It's not Meraki's end user license agreement. It's not Purple's end user license agreement. It's the customer paying the bill and how we can help them write one that satisfies their needs for their customers. So on the data side of the security side of it, whoever pays the bill owns the data. And how they integrate it into their CRM too, right? That's also up to them. And I was also going to say next steps. I was on mute talking and it was really frustrating and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I apologize. Next steps, we should do a demo towards an end user customer in a specific vertical. If I was going to pick a next step and you said you wanted to do a municipality with a large space, or if you wanted to do a chain of dental offices, or if you said you wanted to do something based on furniture stores. My recommendation would be we do another demo, but we try to get it down towards an end user that's looking to solve a problem and let us really pinpoint down, because this was really a shotgun blast of all the capabilities of the products. But it gets really cool when we start to be able to apply the pieces of the puzzle to a solution when we know what the problem is.
Yeah, agreed, Ken. The only thing with this was that it was John was kind enough to set this up with I believe it was the Orange County. I always mess this up. What was it, John?
It's primarily the
Chamber of Commerce.
Whittier and Glendora Chambers of Commerce. They've been
Right.
providing the most support for us here.
Okay, got it. And so it was like a hodgepodge of different business owners coming together to really see the
We've
power
done
of
some
this
really
tool.
cool quotes for chambers where like the chamber wants to own it. The chamber wants to have a secure Wi-Fi network for their employees. So they don't have to build out a LAN, right? So their employees have their own secure LAN infrastructure that's Wi-Fi. And then they want to outpulse out to visitors that come into the village or the town. And like the local bookstore, as soon as they're standing in front of it, they get a coupon to go inside. And the bookstore can pay for marketing, or the book that can be taken out of their Chamber of Commerce membership fees, things like that. Things that generate local business and advertise to local to generate local business. Those things have been discussed many times on these kinds of demos. So if you wanted to focus on it as a revenue generating opportunity for a municipality, we can do that. That's different than, we've also done smart cities, right? Like sensors on garbage trucks to know where they are on the fleet, right? So I say bring us your ideas, as many as you want, as often as you want, and let's work them through, because we can do a lot.
I think the thing to take away there is just, again, let your imagination run wild, and let us create that for you. I think it's kind of the takeaway there.
Yep.
Perfect. Does anybody else got any other questions? John's not allowed to ask questions anymore. Nope. Going once, going twice. Sold. All right. I guess thank you guys for taking part in this demo. I'd like to thank my team, obviously. Ryan, Ken, fantastic. Telworx team, always a pleasure. Sue, amazing as always. You're the best. And to everybody who came in and watched Ryan speak for 40 minutes, I applaud you. You should get a trophy. And if you have any other questions, I think John will forward some information along. And hopefully we're in touch sooner than later.
Yeah, so thank you guys, everyone, for coming out today. Yes, Sue at Technology Source, Stefan, Ryan, Ken at Telesystem, Candace, my project coordinator at Telworx. Thank you guys all for being here and supporting. And Janita and Eric and Lexi, thank you guys for being here today. Really appreciate you guys taking the time. And the last thing I'll leave you with a couple things here. Number one is there was a lot of information that came through in the demo today. It's not your job to become the expert on all of this. We just wanted to kind of help you guys understand what's possible out there. Now, the next step would be get back with me if you have additional questions. We'll go ahead and work through that. And that's, again, why Telworx is here, to help craft the solution that's really going to be the perfect fit for you and your business. That's what we do, so you guys can go ahead and keep working on your business and doing all the great things that you guys are doing.